All right, so we are live with Jeanelle, Drysdale. Say hi, everybody.
Hello.
I'm so excited to do an e-within session with you today. I just want to explain the heart behind it, which is that oftentimes when I start a conference, I'll have a lot of connection with people and engagement on social media in the months leading up to the conference to let people know that it's coming up. But then after the conference,
hmm
you know, the engagement and the magic and the community will sort of wear off. And then the next conference will happen the next year, and it'll be the same process of reaching out and trying to remind people, do you remember that conference you went to last
Right.
year? Wasn't it fun? And it really wasn't matching with one of my goals, which is to create community and family and consistent connection between leaders in various industries, attendees, and even people who don't really know what they want to do in their purpose. Um, so the goal is to do it continually. So these sessions are my first step in making that happen. So I'm so excited that you decided to join us. Um,
Thanks for having me. I think it's such a smart concept. I think it's useful, and I'm
mhm,
glad you're doing it. Very smart. Very, very smart.
Super pumped.
Can you see me? Okay, good. So now
Yes.
every time you move, like it gets kind of dark.
Okay. Yeah, no, I can see you. So, thank you so much. And I told everybody your name, but I did not tell them, what you do. So, if you want, we'll jump in by hearing you discuss, what field you're in and what it is that you do.
So I'm excited to be here, guys, and thank you for listening and watching. So my name is Jeanelle Drysdale, and I'm actually the area director for a youth ministry called Young Life in the Bedford-Stuyvesant area of Brooklyn. I have been living here in Bed-Stuy. I'm here right now, living in Bed-Stuy for the last 6 years, and I just love the community. And I've lived in Brooklyn my whole entire life. So I'm such a Brooklyn girl. I'm a Brooklyn girl. So I love youth, and God has just put that on my heart to just love kids, specifically junior high school kids to about college age. And so that's what I do for a living. I run the youth ministry in Bedford-Stuyvesant. I'll give you a little bit about Young Life really quickly. Young Life is a international youth ministry, so it's 99 countries, 75 years old, and I got to start this particular youth ministry, the chapter in Bedford-Stuyvesant. I'm also a journalist. So it's interesting how you're interviewing me, but I'm usually the one that interviews people, which I
Right.
love to do. I love interviewing people because I love just getting their testimony and understanding their journey to where they are and, where they want to be. There's so many ups and downs in life. And I think there's so much gems and jewels that you can get from hearing someone's story. And so I get to do that through television, radio, and writing. So that's what I do.
That's awesome. Thank you for sharing that. Um, I really love that what you do is so diversified. I think it's really interesting. And I think also, uh, that is New York City for you in a way.
Yeah,
Sometimes
right. I mean,
everyone's like, oh, I'm a doctor and a chef. You're like, oh, okay.
I'm a pilot, and I don't know all the like. I don't know. I'm thinking.
Right.
I'm a pilot, and I run a bed and breakfast.
Right. Yeah. She
It's
said you
always
could just do it
something.
all. Yeah.
There's multiple things. Why not?
Awesome. Um, so how would you describe your personality type?
It's very interesting. So I grew up being very, very shy. If you speak to anyone of my family or my friends from, especially that knew me from when I was a kid, I was very shy, very much an introvert. Didn't want to, honestly, I didn't want people to look at me. I didn't want to talk. And
Hmm.
to a certain extent, I'm still like that, even though I speak in public all the time. I run these, leadership. I'm gonna have to be a leader in different aspects of my life.
Hmm.
I've gotten to interview lots of people in front of lots of people.
Hmm.
So, as you get older, you assimilate and you grow. But at the end of the day, I'm pretty shy. But not only that, I love people. So I come off as an extrovert, but I know that, and you and I were talking about that, and I think it was last week or this week.
Hmm.
I was talking about how I do like to just be home sometimes and alone, and that's how I get my energy. So sometimes I feel like I'm an introvert extrovert,
Mm-hmm.
but I love people. So it may come off two different ways. So I guess that's my personality type. I'm very bubbly, outgoing. I like to connect people like you. So yeah, I would say that. That's my personality type.
That's awesome. So how do you feel that your personality type affects how you do business or how you interact with both your students and clients that you have?
It helps because so with Young Life, I had to start. I got the opportunity because it's not like it was something that was forced upon me, but I got the opportunity to start this ministry in this area of BedStuy. I was never there before. People don't really know about it, so I had to build lots of relationships. And as you and I we were talking about this earlier, relationships is everything. You know, even our relationship with God is the most important thing. You know, so that and with other people. So I had to build relationships with community leaders, with kids, with parents, with schools, and my bubbly personality, outgoing personality, loving people really, really helped because if I didn't really like people, then I think it will come off, you know, that way, or it will just be harder for me to connect with people. And so I think it helps because I like working with people and getting to know new people and somehow, some way connecting the similarities that I have with people. They like that. People like to know what's the common ground, and that helps a lot getting the doors of a lot of places. Even though sometimes it's difficult, I think it helps a lot. Yeah.
And then with journalism?
With that as well, yeah, you have to get to know people out. Like I said, through any part of your life, relationships is just key. And it's not, you know, people always say it's not what you know, it's who you know. I mean, I know it's about what you know, but it really is about who you know. And so with journalism, you have to. So when someone asked me because they thought my personality was great for it, I didn't think so at the time. But a magazine and a media ministry, that's what I call them. They do television and radio. They asked me to host, and I'm like, what? You want me to do that? But it was because of my personality. They thought I was fitting for it. And so you really have to be outgoing. You really have to be able to talk to people you don't know. And all the people I interview, I don't know them. I probably admired them on television or radio or read their books, but I didn't know them. I just had to instantly have a connection, find common ground with them, and jump in, you know, and not everyone likes to do that. And throughout life, being all sorts of parts of my life, it helped me to just be able to jump in. I'm a part of a sorority. I'm a Delta, and being in that sorority, well, initially getting into the sorority, I had to learn and get to know lots of women. And some people, that's hard. For some women, that's hard, or some people. And it was hard for me, but I forced myself, and I'm so glad I did. And I think that I'm good with getting to know different types of people, and that helps with journalism as well.
That's awesome. I really like how you shared how just interacting with different people causes you to choose between that introvert extrovert personality depending on what you're doing. So I think that's good. It's like you almost force yourself to like win that inner battle that I think a lot of people have because of the opportunities that you get and your boldness in deciding to take them. You know, some people in the face of opportunities where they need to be more outgoing, etc. Even if they really love people, they'll kind of shrink back and not take them just to stay in that comfort zone. So,
and don't get me wrong, sometimes I do that, and I have to catch myself, especially if I'm in a room full of people and I don't know anyone. It's kind of hard for me. But like you said, boldness. I pray for boldness all the time, but I pray for humility. And so I know Imani, like she always says, you're a beast at life. And so I actually pray that God makes me a humble beast. Like I'm aggressive at the things that he wants me to be aggressive with. I don't shrink back, but I'm also humble because you have to be. And so that comes up in different ways. Can you hear me? I live in New York City, and you know there's construction outside.
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay, good.
I can hear like
you can hear it.
It sounds like a dying duck or something. But I can hear you fine though. It sounds faded away.
Okay, good.
So that's good. All right. So What's one thing that people don't know or consider about the field that you're in? And you can choose, either one to focus on for this question.
Either one, right? Because I do have. Well, honestly, so the things that I do, I look at it all as ministry. So to me, it's all ministry, but it's done in different ways.
Mm-hmm.
It has different ways. It allows me to connect with people in different ways. So that's how I look at it.
Okay.
So the thing that people don't consider is the hard work that comes in. For example, building a ministry is not all spiritual, but it's discipline, it's business. You have to have that business mindset. And people like, oh, church is business. I mean, at the end of the day, there's some things that are, and we're not building a church, but it's still a Christian organization. So people kind of like lump us in that church category.
Right.
So there's a lot to do with, of course, you have to pray, you have to consult God and honestly know what He wants for you. But there's so much that comes into it besides that. There's, like I said, there's the structure, there's a discipline, there's the things that you have to do that's very practical. But then there's the things that He's doing within you for you to become that person that would lead. I know for me, when I first started working with Young Life, well, when I was deciding if I would take the position, it felt huge to me and I was so scared. And I felt the Lord tell me, and yes, the Lord talks. He speaks to you. And He spoke to me and He said, Jeanelle, this is more beneficial for you than for them. And what He meant, the kids. And of course, they're benefiting from it, but I'm benefiting from it too because He's doing something in me. And I think that people forget about the person that you have to become in order to hold these positions, in order to grow a business or a ministry or any type of organization, because you're leading people. You're leading people. For me, I have to lead people spiritually and physically, and you can't just do it. You have to grow into that person. And so it was a lot of internal work. And I think that people want to jump into stuff, but I understand that there's a progression through life and process, even though it's difficult and it may hurt, it's so necessary. So
that's absolutely right. I definitely get that. I could have used that a couple years ago.
Yeah, same thing for me.
I think it's really interesting because, like you were saying, people have ideas or people have, this burning desire in their heart to do things. But when they picture themselves doing that thing, I'm pretty sure they picture themselves as they are, doing that thing. And they view, who they are, their personality, their experience, etc., as enough to do whatever it is that they feel called to do, or whatever their new idea is.
Right.
But I think people are in for shock of a lifetime when they notice all these new tests that come and all these new trials that come and all these things that really attack your heart and attack your mind and attack, just the foundation that you came in with, so that it can be rebuilt and, so that it can be the way that God wants it to be.
Right.
So I think that's really interesting because I have yet to do a project where I'm not wrecked before the project is finished. And I remember being so confused, like, why can't I just write a book in peace? Why does the world fall apart?
Why does it come with all this?
Yeah.
But I definitely want to share quickly. I shared with you before, but I want to share with others. Before I got into ministry full time, I was in fashion for a while. I was in the fashion industry, and there was something that the Lord wanted to, not something, it was many things that God wanted to do in me. And so from the time that I left the fashion industry to the time that I started working in youth ministry, I didn't have a job for 3.5 years. Sometimes I think, and this morning I was thinking, Lord, maybe I didn't need to take that long. And I was thinking of myself as a children of Israel. If you read the book, the Bible, and the children of Israel, with Moses, they were supposed to go from leaving captivity and slavery to the promised land, a new life, and it took them 40 years. When the word said it took 11 days.
Right.
This morning I was like, Lord, I probably could have done that a lot faster, but He allowed it to happen because He was doing something in me. He needed to change me. He needed to mold me. He needed to make me dependent upon Him, and I'm still working on that. But there was something. There's something that He wanted me to get to. There was a point that He wanted me to get to. There's integrity that He wanted me to have, character. maybe more of a giving spirit. I don't know what it is, but
Mm-hmm.
I know somewhat of it. But at the end of the day, he was doing something, and that process hurt. It did,
Right.
but I was not traded in for the world. I wouldn't want to do it again, but I understand the results, and it's worth it. And so that goes back to the process and how important it is to go through the process and becoming the person that you need to be in order to have that position.
That's right. And I think, something else I've noticed relating to what you just said was that sometimes you have these life-altering things that occur, but sometimes it's as simple as, working with people, or, maybe even working with close friends, and you thought your close friend was,
Right.
accountable and reliable, and you give them a project and they just disappear.
Oh
So it's
yeah,
just
I've had
things
that
like that.
before.
Yeah, where all of a sudden, there's something about leadership, man, that just totally gives you a new perspective on people, on yourself.
Yeah,
And it
they're
tells you the
weird.
truth about a lot of things that you were able to go so long without knowing because you weren't in that position,
Right. I mean, we're so peculiar. We're just weird. We're
Mm-hmm.
weird. We're different. I mean, of course, we're different than any other thing the Lord made, but like
Right.
we're different amongst each other as well. There's certain things that ticks us off, or certain things that pushes out buttons that we might not even know.
Mm-hmm.
And so, working with people and leading people is just a very interesting experience, and it's ongoing if you so choose to stick in the game. But it's
Mm-hmm.
worth it. It's worth it.
Definitely. Okay, so what's something that comes easy to you in your field, or natural to you because of your personality?
I would say building relationships again. I thank God that most people like me. Of course, there's some people who don't, which I'm okay with. But most people I get to like, I think it's God. Honestly, I think it's God. Like, I don't think it's me or anything. Not everyone's my best friend, and I'm okay with that because I can't juggle but so many relationships. But usually I take to people very well. I just became a people person. A couple of my friends would say, you know everybody. And
Mm-hmm.
after a while, I had to like actually think about it and say, I don't know everybody, obviously, but
Mm-hmm.
I do know a lot of people because I just like meeting people.
Mm-hmm.
I keep people around. Most of the time, I've had friends since elementary school, junior high school, and we're still friends. I try to do that. So I think that helps me a lot. Also, being able to bounce back from adversity, and it honestly comes from my relationship with God once again, because like I will just go to Him and cry to Him, and He'll take care of it for me. So I don't know if that's really personality, but it's a habit that I've built,
Mm-hmm.
and it works. So so yeah, just being able to connect with people. I've learned throughout my career so far that, and I feel like I just started my career, but just connecting with people, finding common ground with people really goes a long way, and people just liking you goes a long way, and also helping others as well. I think that became a part of my personality because of lots of people, but especially my mom. My mom always found a way to help people, and I like to do the same. Just connecting with people. If Imani is good with one thing and this person needs that, let's connect them, or vice versa. Just seeing how I can help someone without like getting something back.
Right.
That happened over time, though. I'm not perfect, so
Mm-hmm.
yeah, it's progression. But I think that part of my personality helps.
That's really cool. I can see how that would definitely be beneficial in the things that you're doing. What I wanted to do is just grab the charger really quickly.
Go ahead, girl.
But something that I wanted to do so that you're not just, staring at the screen for 2 minutes is the next question is going to be, what comes challenging to you?
Oh, yeah.
I can still, hear you, but I have to, obviously run and come back.
So you want me to answer that?
What did you say?
You want me to answer it while you're gone?
Yeah, I mean, I can still hear you, but
Okay.
I just wanted to do that. I just wanted to ask you the question now so that there's not like an awkward lull in the conversation.
Okay, that's an easy answer. I have a lot of challenges.
So begin.
Yeah, my challenges span everything you could think of. Challenges for me, once again, a challenge. Even though I'm great with people, co- committing to communicating with people is hard for me. Like keeping them, just finding out how they're doing on a regular basis, and like a lot of my friends sometimes say that I'm disconnected sometimes, and I understand why, because I, juggling a lot of relationships kind of gets hard and it's tiring. And for me, that's why sometimes I think I'm an introvert, because when I go home, I just want to be home by myself. I don't want to talk sometimes. And it has nothing to do with anyone in particular. It's just I'm rejuvenating, I'm re-energizing. Um, and so that's difficult for me. I had a friend yesterday that told me I'm disconnected sometimes, and because there's such a connection with people when I'm in person with them, they expect it all the time, which I understand. So that's my the things I'm working on. Also, I get fearful a lot, and so when I'm fear comes in different ways, of course, but one of the ways it comes for me is being overwhelmed. So I know a lot of the things that I do requires a lot, and I look at it like this big, I don't know, wave that's gonna come and crash over me. I've actually had a dream like that before, or like sorry, not David and Goliath, like a big giant. And so that's hard for me. It's hard for me to find the details and tackle it in small bites compared to I look at things in big chunks. And the reason why I'm realizing it has to do with my personality, in that I'm a visionary and I don't execute. I execute well, but when it's time to like plan the little details, it's hard for me. And so the thing I have to do is, and I'm okay with this, the thing I have to do is work with people who are very detail oriented,
Right.
and who are great planners, and we can work together. I have this vision that the Lord has given me, or whatever, maybe I created it myself. And it's just hard sometimes to execute. And sometimes I take my too much time to do it. And I drag my feet because I feel overwhelmed and scared. But when you're in leadership, there's so much of that you have to do. You have big vision and you have to lead lots of people. So honestly, I'm looking for an assistant. He or she will help me so much. So that's one thing. If you want to assist me, please let me know. No, seriously, I really need someone I'm not great with admin stuff, like all these, like that stuff is just not me. But the thing that kind of like makes me feel a way about it is it makes me feel like, because a lot of women supposedly aren't great with details. A lot of men supposedly aren't. They're big vision.
Right.
And I'm a woman, and so sometimes if I feel like I'm not, the enemy makes me feel like, oh, that's not feminine. But at the end of the day, that's not what it is. It's just my personality. So, yeah. Well, I mean, I can go on about my challenges, but those are the ones that really come to mind. And sometimes I don't even want to approach people. I'm scared.
Right.
This week alone, I was writing down the people that I get to meet this week. And it was all because I had to like really get over that hump of fear. And guess what? When I asked them, they were like, absolutely, let's meet up.
Wow.
But like, the whole time I'm scared. Like, I don't know if they probably don't want to meet with me because they have like 1 billion followers on Instagram and 1 billion on Facebook. They don't have time for me. And these women are like, yeah, I want to meet with you. So I just wasted all that time with them because in my mind, I was scared and they didn't want to meet with me. So there's a lot of challenges that as an entrepreneur, as a leader, you have to just ignore those fears because God did not give us a spirit of fear. So don't,
Right. It sounds like you do a lot of just leaping, just going for it.
I mean, that's life, right? So
well, I think a lot of people don't do that. And I love the idea of, do it scared, do it afraid. Sometimes I have this visual of myself running and jumping off a cliff and I'm covering my eyes, but at least I jumped,
And my vision is walking towards it slowly with my knees shaking, but I'm still walking towards it because that literally was me as a kid. I would do something.
Right.
As a kid, it was hard for me to go to the bathroom by myself in the dark. A little kid, you're scared of the dark. And
I still have some light on.
You know, and for me, it was, I always remember this, like as being like 4 and 5, going to the bathroom by myself, being scared to walk from my bedroom to the bathroom, but my knees were shaking and I said I had to pee, so I had to go. And that's just me as an adult, as a woman, still doing that, but in bigger things. So
that's awesome.
Yeah.
And also to your point about women versus men with, you know, being detail oriented, I wonder how many women take on the role and study and learn and become that role because, you know, the men that they work with are not, you know, so I wonder, you know, so often it doesn't necessarily come naturally to a woman or to a man to be, you know, sometimes it doesn't come naturally to a man to be a visionary, but if he has enough people, like, why don't you have the bigger picture, you know?
Right.
You kind of teach yourself to do that and then vice versa.
Right.
So that's interesting. That's interesting. So I think you definitely talked about it because this is just what you do. You seem like you're very reflective and open and transparent. So this question has actually been answered multiple times by now. But the question is, how do you believe that your dream has caused you to grow as a person?
Well, yeah, like you said, in different ways, I've kind of brought that up. It requires me to be better. It requires me to be different, but my better self, you know, like there's so many things in me that I didn't think that I can do until someone asked me and challenged me to do it. And then I took the leap, closed my eyes and did it, you know, or like walked towards it with shaky knees, but did it anyway. And I think that's it. Like there's so much that the God is requiring of us, or challenging us to do, but we don't, because we don't see ourselves in that way. We just see ourselves right now. He sees us us before time, in time, after time. He sees us between now and the day that we die. There's so much that's going to happen. There's so much things that he wants us to accomplish.
Right.
But we have to keep on becoming, you know, we have to keep on growing. And it says in the word, like, he will be working on us, we'll be growing. Well, it doesn't say growing part, but it says, well, he'll be working on us until Jesus Christ comes. And that, like, there's a continuous work that we have to do. We're always going to be growing and changing. And so, I forgot the question.
How the dream has caused you to grow as a person.
Right. And, you know, and it's just challenges that, challenges. So, like, for example, as a kid, I saw myself wealthy, even though I grew up in a very poor environment. My family still kind of has no offense to my family, but we have a broke mentality, you know, it comes from a lot and poverty mindset. And I knew that, after a while, I knew that I had to have that mindset of the wealthy. I'm not wealthy yet, but I know that I'm on my way because the Lord is always challenging me to change my mindset. Like, again, the children of Israel, they had a poverty mindset, a lack mindset, because they were in for over 400 years. And the Lord was taking them out of that. But it was just so hard for them to change their mindset because of what they were, and they had to become different. So that's what, for me to really to see my dreams come to pass, I had to change it. And I don't know if you see these books in the back. And if I could only turn around the screen, I have so many books because I just love books. I feel like there's nothing, the Bible says that there's nothing new under the sun. And so there's probably a book for it. There's an app for it now. You know, there's somebody who already paved the way for whatever you want to do. Find out what they did and do it, or like tweak it for your personality or what you're doing. Is mentorship. I just believe that's so important. Mentorship is so important. It's interesting how people who are mentors, most of the time they say yes. Sometimes they'll say no, and that's fine because it's going to be somebody else for you. For me, I was praying for almost 5 years for a mentor. And I knew exactly how I wanted her to be. I wanted her to be a woman, a wife, a mother, a woman in ministry or business or both. And now I have 2, but I prayed for it, so just, that's all that stuff helps you to grow.
That's right.
More than what you asked for, but
That's right. That's good. So is there anything that you would personally like for people to take away? There may be somebody who wants to get into your field, someone who's lost in their purpose. They have no idea what they should be doing. But is there anything that, maybe you live by or that you feel led currently to share with the viewers?
That's a good question. The thought that came to mind is service to many leads to greatness. That's not specifically in the Bible, but it's in the Bible. Like I said, the reason I say that it came to mind is because a couple of weeks ago I had to speak at this event, and it was 4 teens who actually served their community, and they were being honored for it. But I think it's a very rare thing for people to be in that position, and I think that and myself as well. Actually, it was last night that God showed me sometimes how I could be very selfish. And that is what I'm working on. And I think that we should work on as well. Like, service to others does lead to greatness. And then the point is not to be great, but the point is to serve. And I think that if you help people get what they want, you can get what you want.
That's right.
And then also ask for a clean heart. Like, I pray that all the time, because it's really out of the abundance of the heart, the mouth speaks. And like the things that we do as well comes from our heart. So the decisions that we make comes from our heart, and of course our mind. So I pray for a clean heart, and I also pray for wisdom. And so that's what I would suggest for everyone, because that's what I do. I just pray that I make wise decisions. And those wise decisions, I pray that it aligns with God's will for your life, for my life. My goal is to really and this is after years of being a believer, so don't think that for me, it didn't happen overnight. I wasn't always as zealous about God. I really wasn't, so I'm thankful for the zeal that I have for him now, and that I hope prayerfully always have. But in my time with him, I realized really the thing that really I'm here for is for his will, his plan for my life. And once I align myself with that, things get so much better. Like the things that I thought I wanted, like the fashion industry, I don't want anymore, because he showed me that working with these kids and being in journalism, he has a specific plan for that. And it works out. It just somehow aligns. It just works out. And then, of course, there's difficulty, but because I'm focused on the target that he has for my life, he helps so much. There's people that I have favor with that I didn't have before. There's a lot that comes with it. The wisdom that comes with it, the clean heart that comes with it, and then the people you get to serve.
Right.
So I know I said like 4 different things, but I think that all of them are important. And I think it really starts with aligning yourself with God, and like ask him, okay, what's up? Like, help me to be where you want me to be, and do what you want me to do, and be the person who you want me to be. And he'll show that through his word and the Bible, and he'll show that to you through prayer. And once you pray, look to see where he's answering. Be attentive to the things that's going on in your life, and like you said, be reflective. Reflect on what he's doing. Think about the things that you're thinking about. Spend time alone. My favorite thing is journaling. Like, write down what happened that day, or like what you were thinking about, what someone said to you that was profound, or the book that you read or something. Of course, the Bible verse that you read or whatever. Just write it down, especially the common ground. There's so many common things that happen. And this is my last thing. This morning I was reading about Moses and how how he first discovered that God was calling him to rescue the children of Israel. So a lot of us know about this burning bush, and that was God's way of showing Moses that he was real. He is real. And God told Moses to go back to Egypt and free his people, because he heard their cries. He knows what they're going through. He said, I've been closely listening to them, because he always listens to us. And then Moses said, but he just gave a whole bunch of excuses, and he kept saying, but I can't do this. And what do I say about them? And how do I do this, God? And then God always responded, but I will be with you.
Right.
I am the I am. And so I had to remember, like, Jeanelle, it's not your abilities. It's not what you're going to do. It's what God is going to do through you. It's God's abilities. It's God's sovereignty that's working through you. And once I keep that in mind, like, I'm like, okay, I can do it. Even though it's difficult on my abilities, but He working in me.
Right.
So I'll close with that.
And I love something that stuck out to me is how when you stepped out into that scary, shaky position of becoming a young life leader and then eventually director, I'm not sure, the order there, but
you didn't get to be a leader, which is the weirdest thing.
Oh yeah, awesome.
Right?
So it just went straight up.
Right, but that was I wanted to, but I guess God just was like, nope, be the leader. But anyway, go ahead.
Right. So I love that it was in that position that you developed the different character traits that you wanted and that you were hoping and praying for. It was after you took on the challenge that you began to develop it as a result of, that new position and all the people that you were exposed to and the experiences that you had. So I found it interesting. And there's a lesson in that as well, where sometimes spiritually people will sit and pray and hope and fast and weep and tarry and do whatever else to try to develop certain character traits. And I think there are some things that God will develop in you through a personal relationship with Him, but a lot of things that He wants to develop in us happen through interactions with other people, doing challenging things, perhaps being in a new location altogether, moving, just all these different things where, you're doing life, in a arena that's bigger than you, and you're forced to grow into it. I love the idea of like a t-shirt, whenever you pray for something, you think you're praying for something simple, God gives you like an extra large t-shirt, or just t-shirt that, you don't fit. And, sometimes we can look at Him like, what are you doing? It's not my size. And He's like, I know, you're going to grow into it, So I think that you definitely are living proof of that. And that's a lesson that I took away from what you said, which I think is really powerful. Definitely powerful.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Yeah, I think it's definitely encouraging too, because for anybody in progress, they may just need to step out. Like sometimes a lot of people are sitting on,
greatness
and on an instruction to step out, where they have an opportunity on the table and they're like, no, that's not it. It's too risky. It's not in my comfort zone.
I also have to be transparent in that there's times that I did the same thing. I sat on opportunities that I should have stepped out in. Like there was times that I was supposed to do, and I was like, oh no, that's too big. Like Moses, I was thinking about my ability and not God's ability in me. So,
wow,
yeah, got to step out and find out, right?
Right. Right. I mean,
step out like Peter.
What do you say?
Just step out like Peter on the water.
On water, right.
Right. It's hard.
I mean, it's interesting because like you stepping out, doing the things you've done is the reason why we got to meet, you and I,
yeah, you just never know who you're going to meet along the way.
Yeah, you were on the Entrepreneurs Panel at Within Conference, but if you weren't an entrepreneur, I mean, perhaps you would have come as an attendee, but you know, you were really there to serve, which is really interesting.
It was a great experience.
So it's funny how that works. Yeah, you're welcome. It was very fun.
Yeah, He's always bringing us from glory to glory to glory, but like He's not gonna say, okay, well, I think, at least in my life, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, not 1, 5. Like, maybe God would accelerate you, but sometimes He just needs you to take that leap so He can trust you to go on. Like, the small steps really help. The small steps mean something and it shows him that, okay, you're willing to trust him. That's pretty much what it is. He wants you to trust him, and
Right.
I'm still learning trust.
Right.
I'm still learning with that.
It's definitely a lifelong process.
Oh yes, girl. much,
So,
much.
what would you say?
I said very much so.
Definitely. The very last thing we're going to cover is if you have any projects that you're working on or events that are coming up, we would like to know about them so that we can support you and viewers can connect with you. They'll be able to see, links to your social media, links to various events and things coming up in the description box. But if you just wanted to share anything that's in progress now.
So Young Life has this annual benefit that we do, and it's very nice and like swanky, and you get to wear your nice, beautiful cocktail dress. And it's April 28th. It's at the Bowery Hotel. It's a little pricey, but it's worth it. It's $100 for someone who is within, I think it's 35 and under, and then 35 and under, it's $150. And so just a beautiful way for us to proclaim the gospel in a very stylish way. But not only that, to show people what we've been doing with the kids and how the kids, have been developing in their relationship with Christ, and of course being just better citizens in the community. So that's a great event. April 28th. You can definitely check out, like she said, the information below. And then for me, I'm working on a project called The Point with a good friend of mine. We don't have a date as far as when it's coming out yet. We're developing it. And those are, to be honest, that's one of the things, that's one of the main things I sat on because it was just so big. But it's called The Point, and it's something I'm super excited about because I love hearing people's testimonies. And the word talks about it being very important and people can be set free through the word of someone's testimony, the power of the testimony. So we're using that to help people to come to understand who God is. And maybe God was doing something in their life at one point, but they didn't really pay attention and was reflective, like we said, to find out. So we're going to be interviewing people about points in their lives when God just really revealed himself and did some amazing things. Or maybe it was a subtle thing, but it really changed their lives.
Right.
So more to come, more details to come with that. Just for logistics reasons, I can't really go further into it. But yeah, it's definitely going to come out, and you'll hear about it if you follow me on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. I'm on Snapchat. I'm going to start using it more. And it's actually your husband that's helping me, who's like really convinced me to use Snapchat. So all of it is at Miss Drysdale. Except for my Facebook page is it's Jeanelle Drysdale. But you'll see it in the description.
All right, awesome. Well, thank you so much for sharing. I've been taking a lot of mental notes, so thank you.
Cool. I'm happy that we get to work together and then people get to see what's going on, what God is doing.
Yeah. All right. Also, if you'd like to connect with her, you can do so below in the description. And she's very friendly, so don't be afraid to say hi and let her know where you connected with her through. And all right, guys, have a great day.
Later. Thank you for listening and watching.